didn't sleep and I was on my knees. And I was weeping the night before, birthing this baby. But when I'm out, you won't see that, huh? Things that confidence will do to you. They won't see that, and they don't need to see that, but they see the grace that is upon your life. So at night, I would be up and birthing this baby in prayer. But the next day, I'm in a boardroom, and I'm leading a group. Right now, we have 258 employees. That's how many people are in our organization. And that can only happen by the grace of God. How do you learn to serve? Before you're at the top, you've got to serve others. Because now when you're at the top, guess what? They need to serve you. So learn to serve. Number two, there is no substitute for hard work. There is just no substitute. In my work, I'm an auditor. Before, when people were not yet educated, they thought we were the police, where you go in and you say, you did this wrong, and this is missing, and why didn't you do this? We're not the police. We are just auditors, doing what we were trained to do. But you have to do it diligently and without fear. There is no room for fear where we are. When I sit around the boardroom, I don't have to look at myself as a female. I look at myself as the brains behind. I am here because I deserve a seat at the table. Sometimes if you're confident and you don't know your calling and your purpose around the table, you will sit there and do the wrong thing. You are there because you have a brain, because God has given you wisdom in a certain season to lead, and you better lead and lead well so that you don't bring the name of God to shame. In summary, that is my story. A small town girl promoted by God to the highest office, and I believe God is taking me even further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charity. I think you all agree with me. She's a powerhouse. She is a powerhouse. So it doesn't matter where you start. God is up to something in your life. I hope you also see the relationship between the kingship ministry and the priesthood ministry. I hope you all see that. She was birthing an audit firm in prayer, and then in the morning she's in the boardroom commanding and doing what a king does. So thank you, Charity, for sharing your story with us. So our last panelist is Charity Moyo. So we've got two charities in the house. Charity Moyo is a woman who is led by faith, purpose, and a passion for empowerment. With over 15 years of experience in the financial sector, specializing in relationship management and international trade products. She has learned that every season of our lives prepares us for the next assignment God has planned. Her journey took a new direction when she transitioned into the mining industry, where she discovered not just a career path, but a divine calling to uplift and empower women. Growing up in a mining town and being a part of a family deeply rooted in the sector, with a father, grandfather, and husband all contributing to mining, she developed a deep appreciation and understanding of this field. Since 2009, her husband and her have worked hands-on in the extraction of base minerals, gaining valuable insights and experience that continues to shape their purpose-driven work. Beyond, so they are into mining, like she's a real miner. Not people who manage, not who are there for the glitz and the glam, but a real miner. So beyond mining operations, her heart is devoted to supporting women, new, aspiring, and established in the mining sector. She provides mentorship and practical guidance on areas such as mine ownership, operational management, and mineral trading, helping women, and I'm sure men as well, rise with confidence and integrity. So those who are thinking mining, she will guide you through how you do it. Her mission is to equip women with the knowledge, faith, and skills needed to thrive in the mining industry, breaking barriers and building legacies that honor God. By combining her financial expertise with mining experience, she strives to be a vessel of impact, helping women see that with faith, diligence, and wisdom, all things are possible. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Charity.
Good day, everybody. Please take your seats. All protocol observed because I'm worried that if I speak names and titles, I might leave out other people. I am generally more used to addressing a congregation of mostly women. Today I'm seeing a couple of gentlemen. I think I forgot to mention that I'm also married and I have 3 children, with the oldest in varsity and the youngest in high school. I've always had a passion in mining, but however, in the small town that I grew up in, mining is perceived to be a man's forte. So I remember one final conversation that I had with my dad after high school, and I was telling him, you know what, I want to get into mining, but I'm not sure of the various career opportunities that are there. And then he just looked at me and he said, no, ku-standard chartered varuda matela. And I was grabbed, I was taken there, and I stayed there for 16 good years. But my passion for mining, it never stopped. I made a couple of mistakes along the way because I didn't have all the necessary knowledge. Come 2010, 2009, that's when my husband and I decided to get into fully fledged mining. It has not been an easy journey. And throughout those years, that's when I then decided to say that, you know what, I need to get opportunities where I get to share all the challenges that you come across. Some challenges, we've dealt with them decisively, and some challenges, they've even resulted in houses, cars, everything being grabbed. But from that, you get to learn a lot. So I am here to impart all the knowledge. I am here to impart all that other knowledge that other people have, because I know most people are into mining, and people tend to be stingy with information. But I'm not one of those. So I'm here to answer all the questions, all the challenges that you think, all the fears that you think that you might have. But above all, I thank God for this opportunity. I thank God for my lovely daughter, Nobuhle. She's the one who told me about this opportunity for today. I think I'll leave here. Being the final speaker, everybody said a mouthful before me. Thank you.
Thank you, Charity. So she's a miner but doesn't look anything like a miner, but and she's here to answer everything, gold, diamond, and some minerals that you don't even know. She'll be answering that. And now we'll move to the next segment where we're going to have a panel discussion. And our facilitator this afternoon is Pastor Charlotte, who's also a seasoned professional in administration, a pastor of excellence that we all know. So she will take us through the discussion. And as she's doing that, I will ask you if you have any questions, kindly jot them down so that we will also ask our panelists. We are here to learn. So if there's something that you don't understand about accounting, please put that question down. Charity will. If you don't know anything, if there's something that you want to know about mining, how do I get into this? Where do I get the claims? No nanga papi. You need to ask those questions. Charity will help you. If you want to understand Jeku construction, my roads is here to answer and help that. So if you have any questions as we are doing this, kindly write them down and then we'll give you an opportunity to ask them. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, everyone. You may kindly take your seats. You are wonderful guests for making it to this special event. Welcome, Charity Moyo. Welcome, Mrs. Rodzi. Welcome, Charity Mtwazi. I said that right? Thank you. So I think people have a lot of questions for you. But it's so unfortunate that most people actually don't associate church with business. They think business is not spiritual. It needs a lot of thinking, which is disassociated with spiritualism. Because as far as most people think, church is about speaking in tongues, people are getting liberated from demonic possession and going to heaven at the end of the day. But you realize that even church, it is business, church itself, because it's about identifying the needs of people. And that's what God did. He saw a need and he sent his son, Jesus Christ, to come and die for us. And that's what most people do when they get into business. I know social scientists like Misty Goteka, our elder there, is a social scientist. You call it needs assessment surveys, right? You go into communities, you do your research to identify their needs, and you come up with solutions involving the communities. And that's what business is all about. So even church, it's all about liberating the spirit, the soul, and the body, every faculty of the human being. And so it's relevant, isn't it? Are we all here? Are we excited to be here? Are we expected to? Wonderful. Thank you. So I think we first heard from Mrs. Rodzi. You mentioned that you expanded from being a kitchen designer into various
We bought it as a kitchen business, but as you all know, things evolve, things change. Within the kitchen manufacturing business, we had people that we call cuts and eggs, people that go get their board, get it made, come to you, you're building your house. They say, "Oh, come, and do that for you." So we had a lot of that come through. Other than that, as the industry grows, you have new competitors coming in. So we had competitors come in as well. So we noticed that our market and what we had we didn't have anymore. So to survive, we had to think about survival. What do we do? Before that, as a family, we were involved in the network side of things. Is we were involved in hospitality. We had those networks before. But what pushed us to really get out of or expand into doing more things and getting into projects and doing more products instead of just doing kitchen, we start thinking, instead of just doing a built-in cupboard and a kitchen, let me do a chair. If I then do like your lounge, if I do complimentary chairs, and maybe go beyond doing your usual kitchen and design a vanity for you, and design a TV unit for you that looks nice. We started getting out of our comfort zone because of that. So our product our product range increased. So instead of just having the one business unit that was just doing the home and looking at the kitchen and your kitchen cabinet, we then expanded into doing a bigger bouquet of our products that went into offices where I'm not just looking at doing a unit in the home. I'm looking at your office. Can I do something for your office? Can I put your office in this? So we do this. We do your cupboarding in there. If you want a bar in your space, I can do that. If you want to have like a lounge, so that's how the expansion started happening. And in looking also at the products that we could do more, we went in to invest into other equipment and machinery that allowed us to offer even a bigger product range. I can assure you, I've got the biggest machine, which we call like a CNC machine, which will design and cut your board and give you partitions that are designed. I can do your logo. I can personalize it to actually do it to what you want by doing that. So it's those things that I expanded into that helped us to go into more products and more business, a bigger business unit, and expand it that way. Obviously, in expansion, in doing those things, as my colleague here said, you have to sell a house, you have to sell a car, you have to look at the benefit of use, offsetting or liquidating something for you to expand and do things like that. So those were decisions that we had to make as a family, but it enabled us to even expand even our creativity into coming up with products that are more acceptable, that are more relevant to what the market actually needs. The one thing that made us expand better and more with the projects, because what we were used to was just going like, you come to me as a family, you want me to do your home. It was just you as an individual and small customer. Now when I do a business, when I'm doing something like a bank, I'm doing work that is like a project that stretches me. So in terms of sustaining myself and remaining relevant, a project could go on for like 2 months, 3 months. It keeps me going. Instead of just, if I come to your home, I do your kitchen, I've done it, I'm done. I'm now waiting for the next one. So even the uncertainty was kind of removed, because now as I do work, I'm not just doing you as an individual. I'm doing work with somebody that will carry me over a period of time. And for me, my biggest concern as well was, how do I keep families? Because you've employed one person, you've got 8 people that is caring. I'm thinking, if I'm not there tomorrow, what am I going to do? So that one was a burden that was giving me sleepless nights. Trust me, the prayer is an element that you can never remove when you are a child of God, because you know with God, all things are possible. And you cannot do it. And apart from him, we can't do anything. Even with that creativity and all those ideas, as long as God is not there, you know you build in vain when you're building a home. So that really helped us to look outside, look at what other opportunities are there. And as we expanded and came up with the other 2 business units, that's how we then expanded to just to start doing projects that helped us to sustain the business, to grow the business, to start giving a bigger product offering. Not only that, even in our creativity, and we still did not remove the personalized element to how we do our work. We don't have a kitchen that is for everyone. We have personalized kitchens. So we'll come to your space. We look at what you have. We look at what resources do you have. What are your tastes? What colors do you like? What designs would interest you? So whatever we do is tailor-made for you. So unlike probably somebody who's going to come and just say, no, I'll cut this, I'll do this for you, and whatever. And it's like something that is in every other home. We are distincting that we do it in a very personalized way, and we come up with a design that you will not see in the next person's house. You may tweak a few ideas, you may pick a few ideas, but it's always tailor-made to what exactly you want. So it's not only that, it's also the guarantee and warranty that comes with having somebody that is established. When I do your kitchen, it always carries a 3-year warranty. Anything happens in terms of workmanship or whatever, something that's gone wrong there, we come there, we support you, we continue doing that. That's one of the things that we continue doing in sustaining ourselves in a market which has become cutthroat, because we also have China that's coming with a ready kitchen that's already there. You just come, you put it, and it's there, it's already fit in there. So yeah, the world is changing. And to be honest with you, we don't sit and say, now I've captured you, You are one client. When I see you come back, I'm grateful. I thank God. When I see you referring someone, it also says something. So it also means as a business, we need to have a value system that you become dependable within a market, where someone will say, if you want something done that is sustainable, I go to that person. That is not easy to do, but we try by all means to ensure we give you the quality, a product that will be durable enough for you to say, I got my money's worth. Those are some of the things that we've done. I don't know if I've answered or have I overlooked something?
Yes, you have.
Okay.
Yes,
All
you
right.
have.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm learning that the whole idea is to remain relevant. Yeah, so you need to continue to learn what are the things that people require at that particular time. But I also see from the other guest, Charity on my right and my left, the common thing is about passion, pursuing what you're passionate about. I don't want to say a lot, but I want people to ask questions from the congregation. Anything that you feel you want to know, because the church needs money. Without money, the gospel is going nowhere. Of course, Christ died for us. It looks like it's for free, but taking it to where it should go, it's expensive. So we need money, and we ask everybody who has any questions to ask our special guests. You are free to do so. Just lift your hand, and Pastor C will bring the mic to you.
Just to add while we wait for a question, it's very interesting because Apostle Cecil, I listen to the sermons, guys. If you don't listen, I'm going to show you. Apostle said in 5 years, you need 2 million to run this church. Am I correct or am I wrong? That's what he said. So you have to make the money, and trust me, the money is here.
You can go ahead.
Thank you so much for. Thank you for that insight, Mrs. Rosie. I think my question would be, I think what you mentioned is that how you started is you bought a business that was already there. Now, looking at, I suppose, the majority of people in the country, they don't have the opportunity, they don't have that capital to buy a business that is already running. What sort of advice would you give someone who probably has $100 in their account today and they want to venture into the kind of business that you're doing? Thank you.
Thank you. I remember from that sermon, Apostles talking about someone with an iPhone that is worth 20 goats. Am I right? Yes, you know, everything is possible, and we have dreams, we have things that we want to do, but we also need to be realistic in terms of the resources that you can access. But you know what God will ask you is, what do you have in your hands? And you start from there. I think we also need to be realistic in terms of what it is you want to do. You can't come in with a $20 million business, but there are so many things that we can do. I want to give you an example of something I did that is not manufacturing. I decided to do mushroom, okay? That's one thing you guys need to do. When you're passionate about something, train yourself, do your research. What does it need? What do I need to do? That was something that didn't need a lot of money, but I want you to do the figures. We've got people with calculators, right? I want you to just calculate for you to see how much I made from that project, okay? So I went to the farm. There was a barn that was not utilized that used to be a barn for tobacco. And I put in bank, so I did the training for the mushroom, okay? When I went there, button mushroom, for those probably that have tried, it grows on beds. We call them bank beds. I put in bank beds in there, okay? 6 is what I utilized at the time when I started to do it. I did 12, 6 on each side, okay? And on each bank bed. And you know mushroom grows on manure. Manure, people, okay? You need horse manure, you need chicken manure, you need your straw, mauswa. That's all. Wait a compost here, 6 weeks. And this kind. You do that, you then sanitize it. Kanamai sanitizer. A button mushroom just needs you to be smart. Laid it on 6 beds. I want you to just do the math of what I made when I did that project. So on the 6th, when I started picking, so the only thing that will probably be a bit tricky, that could be a bit costly, is you need to maintain your temperatures. At one point you need heat, and then at a certain time you start cooling it down. So if you don't have an aircon, you can actually like even just open the room wherever you are, where you're doing it. So when I did it, when I started harvesting, I would harvest 15 kgs. So put 15 kgs per bed times 6 a week. I would pick 2 flashes. It comes out in flashes. So 2 flashes, which means 30 kgs. So 15 times 2 times 6 times 4 weeks in a month. Tell me how much that is. How much? No, it's more than that. It's 15, we said 15, or it's $20 a kg. $20 a kg. Tell me how much that is. I've only utilized half. So in a month, I had a maximum potential of actually doing 28,000. Where do you go and work and make that kind of money? Not I'm just giving you an example, okay? We don't all have to do kitchen fittings. And the other problem is we all want to do what everyone is doing. But what we forget is people have invested in whatever they're doing. If you ask her, she'll tell you how much she's put in whatever they're doing to make mining work. But this is just something that just popped out of my head. I did this. Glory Church, I'm going back to doing mushroom. I had stopped for some reasons, but I am going back to doing mushroom because the biggest expense there for me is probably just having an aircon. And right now you can get a Chinese one, a Chinese version. You don't need to have bunk beds that big like me. What you need is a small room that is probably 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. Just put in your bunk beds. Just need to be smart. Make sure when you go there, you wash your hands. Ladies, usually this is very easy for us to do. Use what you have in your hands. What is your passion? For me, I mentioned in those 7 streams is taking advantage of the natural things that we have. Other than mining, that's actually one of the things. Manyowa chayo bedwe. Manyowa mkashaya ema horses, tora ye mombe, tora ye huku. Motora mocheka mahuswa, moita compost. 6 weeks when your compost is ripe and red, when it's ready, just sanitize it, lay on the bed. You get your spoon, you put it there, put your crop.
Wow. It is what you have in your hand. It is what you have in your hand. He mentioned health skill, and it's one of the 7 streams that are talking about. Because I don't know, I usually just go to buy back. What you have in your hand. Even if you have $100, you have a degree, you may have a social science degree, you can utilize that. But when you come into mining, it's like a man's world. You have people on the ground. How do you start? You grew up in the mining area before. How did you like put yourself in that environment where you actually own
us, you sell to us only. And we're paid in advance. So our first transaction, we never used any of our money. Takangoitawo shiri yakangovaka pindire neminhenga yedzimu. So that is how it started. But throughout the years, we have transitioned in what we call consignment mining. So what we do is we get an order. So somebody can say, you know what, Charity, I need a parcel of, for example, 150 tons of antimony with a grade of so much. All right? So what we've managed to do ourselves, we've managed to secure a couple of properties in some of these key strategic minerals that we know that we always have a market. You are just not supposed to just register a mine just for the sake of mining, because everything that you do, it has to be business centered. You need to make money at the end of the day. And if you look at it currently right now, where we are going towards, it's the battery. It's the, what they call energy transition metal. That's your lithium, that's your coppers, and so on. So it will be quite an interesting venture. You then say that as a church, all right, let's invest in lithium, for example, with the sole purpose of setting up a plant. Because you find that another problem that we have here in Zim, we are just extracting and selling our minerals, exporting them. 3/4 of the time, we are importing finished products of raw materials that we are mining. So I find it's quite sad. And I know that, well, in the mining space, well, it makes sense for us to just be mining, you know, and then you get paid at the end of the day. Okay, whatever happens to my mineral, that's a story for another day. But into the future, we need to carry out what is called sustainable mining. We need to mine looking into the future. We need to be involved in the entire value chain. We might not all be involved in the extraction, but at least be involved in the processing part. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm sure you've answered many other questions as you spoke. You mentioned diligence. You know, as she rose from a low-level place of service, and you know, the word of God says, see a man who is diligent in his work, he shall not stand before ordinary men, but before kings. So Apostle always teaches, if you start your organization and you employ 10 people just like you, will that organization grow? I mean, just ask yourself that question, you know. So I learned that diligence and also investing in what you know, developing yourself career-wise will take you to places you've never imagined. Hallelujah. I saw another hand raised somewhere there.
Thank you so much. And actually, some of the things that I jotted down were answered, but this one question, it actually goes to Mrs. Rodi. I hope I pronounced it right, but the ladies can also maybe add one or two. I come from a very fast-paced environment where it's all about deliver, but there is no after sale. And even if it is there, it's not mastered. So from your experience, and if I want to now start looking at after sale and improve it, what are the things that I need to change? And how do I go about it? And you also mentioned comfort zone. I realized that routine can be a comfort zone. And how do I identify things that keep me on that routine and how do I break away from that? Thank you.
Um, no? So the only thing that is constant is change. So what does it mean? You need to change. Whether you like it or not, no matter how comfortable what you're doing is, you can't stay where you are. Every day things are changing. Every day things are moving. I just want to share, there's a clip I saw the other day that was shared by Strive Masiwa. We all know Strive. And we know Econet. We know how successful he is. He now sits on the board on Netflix and all that. He just shared a small article that I saw. I'm sure a lot of you may have seen it. I don't know what you are sharing on social media. That's the other thing. Don't go on TikTok to be watching, how to do your makeup only and what's not. There are a lot of things that can teach you there. So he was just talking about AI. And he said, he was by somebody, how much of AI he's utilized in his business. And he was referring to, he said he referred to three any business. The that he was talking about is your people, your processes, your products. And he was saying, utilize AI, everything. For him, he said they've come up with an AI assisted in their answers, I think where they needed like where they needed 30 people to respond to inquiries, they probably need 10. The 20, the job is being done by AI. They now have this AI lady or who respond to queries that way. What am I saying? Equip yourself constantly as the world is changing. Instead of spending 2 hours on Facebook, spend 2 hours learning about AI. What can I do? He was also talking about some accounting processes that he said would take them like a week or something, and now it's shrunk and is being done in like, the shortest time imaginable. What is it saying? Be relevant. If you're not going to upskill, if you're not going to make yourself relevant by looking at what is happening and upgrading yourself, you will disappear. We'll be dinosaurs before we even know it. I mean, think about, okay, I may disclose my age at this point, but we were watching black and white TVs, It's not even 50 years ago. Okay, so I'm under 50. So, but who ever want to see that TV? Can you, even with the flat screens, now they come smart. Do you get what I'm saying? But we've got them in our houses. I built my house like 15 or so years ago. TV. And when I'm under pressure now, my children are telling me, mazi TV, and for me, this is still relevant, and this is the pressure that we have. So whatever it is you're doing, you can never say you're safe. What you need to do is upskill. Continue to learn what is happening in your trade. Whatever it is that you're doing, upgrade your skills. Do what you need to do. I mean, for me, obviously, with a social science background, passionate about deco, I don't know a lot about it. There's so much that I'm actually learning through AI. But you know what I did in the last 2 years? I started a design course. I've got designers already in my business that do these things. I've got people that have been doing this for years in my business. So I just knew the basics. Some of them I'm saying these guys that have done a design and they've come up with colors. They are mixing yellow and green. And I'm saying, where the hell do you put such a color? Where are you going to put it? And it doesn't make sense to me. But when you see it done and put there, perfect. We did a leather couch in yellow leather for a client. I said, how do I buy yellow leather? You see the fabric. Just imagine, the girare leather ringora pare yellow. Hands into the couch. How do you do that? But that's what the customer wants. If I refer you to that place where that yellow leather couch is, it looks perfect where it is. So what does it mean? Think outside the box. Don't do things that you are comfortable with and think it will be relevant until forever. It won't. So we need to be moving with the trends. What colors are coming? For me, because I do kitchens, imagine I went to the Canton Fair before COVID, just before COVID. They already had glittered board. They had pink board in China. Imagine a pink kitchen. A pink with glitter and everything. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm sure your daughters will want a pink cupboard in their bedroom. Do you get what? But this is how many years ago? This is 3-4 years ago. Can you imagine what is there now? So you have really no choice but to just be relevant. Upskill, continue training, continue developing, continue researching. We are in that era where we just can't be spending time on TikTok and Facebook. Yes, we go there, but if you go there, other than catching up with your friends and looking for likes, can you start looking for something that would add value to yourself?
There's another question. Please ask as many questions as you can. This is supposed to be very beneficial to us.
Thank you, ladies. My question is for charity mining. For some of us that start very small businesses, one of the challenges is that after 10 years, the business is still at the same level. It doesn't grow. For some of us, the owner of the business who established the business becomes the limitation to the growth of the business. The first part of my question is, what are some of the measures you have put in place to ensure that your business continues to grow like you've explained? The second part is, how do you make this business multi-generational, that this business survives beyond you and your husband? Thank you.
Wow. So what we have done that works for us, we have a team that we work with. We have a technical team that we work with. And they have proved to be quite useful, especially when it comes to location of various minerals. Remember, I told you that we are into consignment mining. So that means that we constantly have to be aware where certain specific minerals are. So when we locate a mineral, our technical team is now responsible to do what needs to be done before we even register the property. And then the second thing is, well, the children, they are definitely part of the operation. From 12 years old, you are coming to the mine. My son is studying civil engineering. At first, he wanted to do mining engineering. But then he said, no, Mom, I want to get into civil engineering because I want to be involved with a lot of civil work. There's a lot of money that you are using, that you are spending, outsourcing. And then my daughter is also studying a business-related degree, international trade, and so on and so on. We'll need her to spearhead our trades internationally. So I would say that our business, I'm safely saying that it's going to continue beyond us. My son right now is running our other site, which is in Kenzamba, because we cannot be in two places at the same time. My son is 20 years old, but he's there, he's running the mine right now.
Probably. Wow. Thank you, Charity Mining. We may want to hear from Charity Auditor how you make your business multi-generational.
Thank you. So I think with an audit practice, it's slightly different because what we recognize is, like I said, we've got 258 employees. Yes, I'm a shareholder in the business, but my children are not inclined to audit. or to accounting, and that's okay. But what they need to recognize is to take away the skill. Many businesses fail because they are not structured, because they don't know how to account for money. When you sell something, it's not profit. It's still just revenue. You've got costs. You've got people to pay. You've got taxes to pay. Because we are Christians, we give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So I think for me, it's more in equipping them so that they know. And interesting enough, and I don't know how many of us would do it, but all my children, my youngest is 3, I'm still managing their card. But I opened for them Stanbic accounts, youth accounts, because people should know how to manage their money. When we go shopping, I'm not shopping for you. You have a monthly allowance that you know, that you budget for when you're still at home. And you go to the shops and you say, how do I spend my money? So I think in equipping my children around my profession, it's how are you financially responsible? You can't run out of money because you know your allowance and what you need to do. And my daughter now is in university in Australia. And she will send me her spreadsheet of expenses because she knows this is how much I get as allowance. This is how much I need to pay for my rent. I can't get a call in the middle of the night and say I've run out of money. No, the mother is an auditor and an accountant. Manage your finances well. Thank you.
That's powerful. Thank you, Charity. We had another hand raised somewhere. Please go ahead, yeah. Yes, Mary.
Question is directed to Charity. Obviously, that is where all the money is, or most of the money is. So my question was, what sort of capital overlay is required for these mining opportunities? You indicated that you've got about 4 locations where you have invested in. I would be just interested to know the value or the capital that you have invested in the first in one of them. That's my first question. I mean, for someone who is thinking to invest in mining, what sort of capital do they need? The second one is, how do you access the mining opportunities? Yes, we heard that you have the opportunity, you have managed to access mining opportunities, but how exactly do you do that? And where do you even go, or where do you search? Is it search on the internet? Are there certain offices where you have to walk in and say, I'm inquiring on getting a mining right or mining claim or something like that? Thank you so much.
My apologies. My mind just completely starts running away when I start talking about mining. But let me start about how to own a mine. I think before you even decide that you want to own a mine, you need to do your own research. What do I want to mine? Number one. If you say, okay, I want to mine mica, for example, what is mica used for? How relevant is it between now and the next 5 to 10 years? How far is it from Harare? Like I said, I always talk to mostly to a women, female audience. So I always tell women, hey, you have to mine 60 kilometers from your house. 60-kilometer radius from your house. Because with mining, you have to be hands-on. So at least with the gentlemen in here, you can afford to go and mine tin in Kamati with them. So when you have established the mineral that you want to mine, your second step now is to say, okay, you go to Ministry of Mines. Ministry of Mines, they've got a database of our 62 plus minerals. Ladies and gentlemen, we just don't have 5 minerals in Zimbabwe. I'm not even mining any of those 5 minerals. We have over 63 minerals in Zimbabwe. Mining haina kuwandirwa. 5 minerals do akawandirwa. Eh. So it's up to you to now choose to say, Guti, out of the 63, which minerals do I want to get into? Before we came in here, I was talking to Cynthia, and I was telling her, you know, when I move around in Harare, you know, I'm looking for opportunities to say, okay, I was looking at Warren Hills, the cemetery. Lenti akupera kaupo. But pane gomo kapo. That mountain needs to be mined. Mavuiwayo, gravel, matombo, they need to be sold to people that are constructing. That's mining. You look at, on your way, just before you get to Norton, there's a company that is into tile manufacturing. The raw materials that they use there, it's minerals that we mine here in Zim. Ma plastic, it's no doubt tenga ku granite side. They are simply blown from minerals that we mine in Rushinga there. Back to the question where you said, how much money do you need for you to start up an operation? Every operation is different. Every operation is different. For us, we go big because we want to make it big. But that's not the best advice when you're starting. You start small, you manage your finances, just like what Charity has said. Because remember, mining is a business. You need to be profitable at the end of the day. So, for example, a couple of years ago when I was working with women in gold mining projects, we would say that for gold, your startup capital would be 10,000 US. So within that 10,000 US, you've got your compressor, you've got your little hoist there, you've got your little generator there, you've got your little hammer mill, you've got your little primary crusher, and then you've got an excess of 2,000 US that you'll then use for buying your explosives and so on. So for gold mining, you need at least 10,000 US for a small scale operation. But then again, it also depends now in gold mining. How are you mining it? Are you doing it underground? Are you doing it open cast? Are you processing a dump? Are you sponsoring? Are you buying gold? Because remember, there's also an option to be buying gold and selling gold. It's another venture again. Are you also into tolling? Do you have a plant where people are just coming and processing their gold on your premises? So it varies. It varies. When it comes to open cast mining, when you say that I want to get into open cast mining, there are basic equipment that you need to have. That's your excavator. We use that for extraction. You need a front-end loader. You need tippers. For every excavator, you need 2 tippers. The size increases as the excavator increases. Yes. Depending with how big your operation is, you find that you might need a rig or you might just need a mining compressor. I hope I've answered. So it can be from as little as $1,000 or $500. Like the ladies that I was training a few months ago who wanted to get into gold mining. $500. So it can be as little as $500 or it can be as more as 1 million.
I think just to add from a structuring perspective, because sometimes when you hear these numbers, they scare you. Where am I going to get 10,000? But what I can tell you out there is, you don't have to go at it alone. It's about identifying fellow people and coming together as shareholders. If I've got 2,000 and this one has got 3,000 and she's got 5,000, our shareholding is different. Our share of the profit is different, but the project is manageable. So I found that a lot of spaces where people are scared to go into is because you want to go at it alone. When you go together, you go further and you go faster. So how you structure is important. Thank you.
And also just to add to her, I actually have a group of ladies, there are about 52 of them that have come together because they are not very clued up when it comes to mining. So they said, no, we're going to come together. The 52 of us, we are going to learn. So you find on average, probably one person will contribute maybe $10 or $20 into this project. But after 3 years, we anticipate that all of these ladies will now be running their own individual projects. So there is strength in numbers.
Which church do you go to charity? We want you here to be our partner. You have other questions? Thank you so much.
My question is to Charity. So for you, it's developing a skill. It's a skill. It's a skill that you sell that makes money for you. What challenges have you faced in developing your skill, and how have you navigated that? And also, how do you then ensure that you remain relevant with the skill that you have? Because obviously things are changing. My Rosie was talking about AI. You hear people saying accountants will be, won't be in existence because there are things that are coming and taking over. So how do you, as an individual, make sure that your skill remains relevant and it keeps making?
Thank you for that. So, yes, what I sell is a skill. And a skill has to be cultivated for it to actually even work for you. But we do face challenges. And the first is that in corporate, by and large, the people around the table are still predominantly male. Sometimes you go there and people look at you and they're not sure what value you can bring to the table just because I'm female. I've told of a story where I went to a meeting and I was the only female representing my company, and I had to present a report. The lady who was serving tea, and bless her heart, because I think this was a tough room to enter, she came into the room and she put the tea tray in front of me. And she says, you can pour yourself tea and serve everyone else. And I love tea. Oh, I know different types of tea. I love tea. But I called her back and I said, you know what? It's okay. Today I'm not having tea. Please pass the tray along. Why did I do that? In my house, do I not serve tea? I do. If you come to my house, I am one of the most hospitable people you will see. But I was not there to serve tea. I was there to present a report, and I was an equal. So sometimes you take who you are. We wear different shoes. Wherever we are, we have a different hat on. If you come to my in-laws, there's a different charity that presents there. It's not the charity of the boardroom. If you come to my home, I am not the priest in my home. I have to consult, and I have to be guided accordingly. So I think some of the challenges are in people putting the wrong hat on you at the wrong table. And if you don't stand your ground, that's where you remain, and you don't actually assert yourself. The second thing is, I think it's very difficult sometimes to deal with very strong characters because we deal with them. And someone will come and instruct you as if it's a different environment. And one thing I do is I am not for male or for female. I am for progress. Let my skill do the talking. Allow me to be me here where I am. And I think another one of the challenges is the space is becoming crowded. So if we don't evolve, we don't become relevant. One of the reasons why we moved out of a global brand is because we felt that was not what is required now in this environment. Were we fearful at some stage? Yes. But we have not been given the spirit of fear. We have power and we have a sound mind. So we apply ourselves to situations very soundly. And we have to evolve. Trust you me, there are robots now that are doing stock take. We don't have to be on site to do a stock take. So if my only skill is adding 1 + 1, soon I'll be very irrelevant. But there are spaces that are coming up. There's sustainability that she spoke about. We are in that space now because we need to know how can people build sustainable businesses and to support them. We have to incorporate AI in our own work. I mean, adding 2+2, when I started, we had these manual notebooks that started from A to Z. Now we're with computers. Now you just tell them, can you look at this work and tell me what's wrong? Apparently, what we have in our brains is not sufficient anymore. But we have to embrace technology, and it has to work for us. So we're not fighting technology. Technology will not replace us as accountants because you still need emotional intelligence. I need to be able to stand before a room and read the room and say, so how do I present so that my point is acceptable to everyone here? So you know what? We embrace technology. We don't fight development, and we keep moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Charity. So we need to cultivate our skills to remain relevant, isn't it? Anybody else?
Good afternoon. So my first question goes to these two ladies on the left. I said I didn't get your name. So you said, ma'am, you said like you first did farming, research, like mushroom farming. So my interest involves farming, like I'm a full-time farmer. It's hard and it's implement. So the thing is, like I'm also into mining at the same time, right? So my question is, what advice would you give me, like to a young man like me, on how to do these things? And for you, ma'am, Charity, I see like you are that type of person who sets a structure, like a business structure. So I would want to know if, like from the advice that they give me, right, I also want to like put a business plan on your side on how I would run that. I'm going to build a company. So on how I would run these two companies, make them into one. So that's my question to you.
Your question is too general. Thank you for that. You can't just talk about farming. You have, what do you want to do?
So I know that they like livestock farming. So where I can do like poultry and all that. But I also want to do that involves that. How to do that.
You want to do both. But even with the both, even within the one, you need to know, do you have an idea of what it is that you want to do? Because you can be a tobacco farmer. Like right now, I'm doing blueberries for export. Do you want to do that? Are you looking at doing your maize? I'm very close to a dairy farmer who wants silage. I'm growing for him. It's those, you need to know what it is that you want to grow. Then there's horticulture as well. There are a lot of things that are being grown right now that will make money and make sense for you. So it can't just be broad, There are people that are doing even wheat as your winter crop. Some people can actually do your summer crop and your winter crop. It depends also on the size. What are you looking at? Because your question as it is too general. I just gave that example of mushroom because it looked like something small that anyone can do at whatever size. Because my size, when I did even the mushroom, I had a really big barn that was not utilized, that I was taking advantage of. You could have a room, not even a very big one. The reason why I did mushroom is you can control your climate. Now there are a lot of climatic changes. Do you have water? You want to drip? If you don't have water, now I'm thinking you may probably need to drill a borehole. Do you want to do something in Djibouti? You're starting to drill a borehole. That's why I'm saying you can narrow it down. Or if we do maybe a 101, we can narrow it down. It can be done. I'm not discouraging you. It can be done. But know roughly, like what she was saying, if you listen to her, imagine I last did the periodic table, I don't know how many years ago. So as she was talking, I was thinking, oh my God, I did that for my science in O level, and I never did sciences at A level. So the things that you have passion in, read into them. We are all talking about mining. I've just learned today the 5 that we all talk about gold, what, platinum. They are not even in the 52 she's talking about. There is so much more that we can do within mining. The same applies to farming. So much you can do. I've done chilies before. You know, those sweet chilies that are around, that are, you can also, so it also depends. But where I am, I've got lots of monkeys and everything. So even with the chibake, I need to be having people that are chasing monkeys and baboons, from eating my maize crop. Do you know what I mean? Where I live right now in Harare, I've got monkeys. I can't even have a small bed of muriwo. I can only grow tsunga and spinach. Because Tsoko come and they eat their harvest. Do you get what I'm saying? So, do you have a small holding? Where is it? Happy, what can we do? Can we consider maybe horticulture? What can we do? Maybe we can put a little greenhouse for you where you can do cucumbers or whatever. If you've done a research, can I take it to food lovers? Or I can go to, if you're staying somewhere close to Pick and Pay, can I go and supply? I'll tell you where I live. There was a time when I supplied cabbages to all the Pick and Pays in Narara. You will laugh if you think cabbage, just cabbage. I had a cabbage that was so good. And how I sold it, I just went to the marketing manager. Sometimes it's the boldness that the ladies are also talking about. I got the number for the marketing manager for Pick and Pay. And I said, I've got cabbages and carrots. He said, bring samples. I didn't know him. You know, people always talk about people want a kickback, people want that. I will tell you today, I did not know him. He didn't know me. I just phoned him and he said, bring samples. I went with my cabbage. I went with like 3 of them. I took some carrots. I went and gave him. He said, the carrots, ma'am, I can't do. But cabbage, we don't have. I want you to supply this cabbage to my supermarkets because the cabbage I'm seeing is not as juicy as yours. Yours, I can see you irrigated it well. It was big. You know, like a 3-year-old child couldn't live. I don't even know the variety. You know how you also stumble. Grace will also follow you. You know when you do this thing. I don't even know what that variety was. I had no background in horticulture. I'm just giving you an example of something horticultural that I did. Do you know trucks started coming from Bari? I had no adverts on my WhatsApp or status or anything. They were coming to take those cabbages. One day, this guy walks into Borode or Pick and Pay, and he sees this funny. I had actually supplied them, and the manager, they told me, no, we don't want it. I'm just giving you an example so that you understand what actually happens when grace is with you and God is just supporting whatever it is that you're doing, because you're doing something. He walked into there and he says, this is cabbage. Ah, no, she was unable to supply. He gets on the phone. He says, my roads are letting me down. Look at my truck just came from there. They said they didn't want it. He said, I'll pay for the trip. Can you please deliver? Do you see what is happening? So sometimes, because we just don't know or we are intimidated. Once you do that, what you need to do once you've established the market, to say you do cucumbers, you do cabbages, you will do, even with this mushroom, I knew the one person who owned a Nescafe. They actually wanted me to deliver. One hotel wanted me to deliver 15 kgs twice a week and everything, which means one of my beds had a market already. With the cabbage, I knew I'm actually taking from I didn't even have, I would cut with the lorries waiting to deliver. I would be cutting for deliveries in the morning. I actually had a problem with labor because I only had my few boys that I work with at home. They could not cope with harvesting the cabbage to deliver. You see, so sometimes you may want to do tobacco. Tobacco will want you to be growing and doing it 14 months of the year. How many months do we have in a year? Tobacco, you need 14 months. And you're starting with the seed bed, you're starting with this, it's capital intensive, it's all that. I don't know if it will make sense to do it small scale, but for me, I think it makes sense when you do it bigger. So there are smaller things that you can, so there's so much we can do in agriculture, just like there's so many things that you can do within mining. So identify, think about what you think you've got a passion for. I think because we are here, we are part of the church already, you can get details where you need maybe advice on a one-to-one, because it makes more sense sometimes. But generally, we must all know what it is that we want to do. Be realistic also in that which you want to do. Know also that you cannot control your climate completely, because our seasons seem to be shifting and changing. If you do not have the water to irrigate once you've planted, suppose you put all your eggs in one basket, you put your fertilizers, you put herbicide, the rain goes away. We've got rain right now. If it goes for the next 3 weeks and you've already planted, what happens to you? You guess what I'm saying? So it is doable. And I encourage you to do it. You're passionate. That's the first thing that you actually need to do. Now start thinking, investigate on all these thoughts. What do you think you really want to do? Do you want to do horticulture? Do you want to do this like twice a year kind of varieties where you do your chibage, where you do your soya, where you do your whatever it is that you want to do, it can be done. If it is also these export kind of crops, also comes with their own headaches, but it's worth it because there is always a value at the end of the day. It's a business. Are you going to make a profit? Is it sustaining you? Are you not chewing your capital like she said? Since we've got our no, we've got our charity here right now. Who will show you? You cannot, because you want to be
because mining is very selfish business. It needs you to be. If I may ask, what mineral would you like to mine? So, inside, let's say, if I need to Hawaii. So, so you get to say people doing things like no, so you really know what they're doing, right? But to enjoy, like you want to experience it. When you say like you are doing it, I didn't see it's part like you're doing it for like maybe say a little but I want to be like I want to know how to like principle. Like what you like what is the one you present it will put a mission like things that we do behind like when that time okay. I know probably for young kids your age, not going to be moving around all night. But see, where you know, there's a lot of good. Chitanda mjoe crusher, who gets them on party stones? Still, you're not going to get them on the road. How's that?
Getting inspired is this baby was speaking, isn't it? Yeah, take your neighbor and say, watch this space. Yeah, we see ourselves getting where these ladies are.
Thank you so much. So my question is for Cherry to put it. So I have been working in the accounting department for some time now. I want to get your advice on the balance between diligence and the point where you're just being asked anything. Like, I'm diligent in what I'm doing, right? Then I'm pushing, I'm always available, I'm doing whatever you ask me. Then what's then the boundary of saying, no, this is not my job, this doesn't contain what I'm doing? Because with our bosses, most of the time, they tend to take advantage of your availability, of your hard working, and at the end, most of them, they don't recognize that you're doing well. So at the moment that you say no, you are out. So how then do you strike a balance between me continuing in my diligence and also saying no to what I feel like is not relevant to what I will be meeting in the space?
Yeah, a very real life question. And I think for me, I would answer it in two ways. The first thing is be clear on your own role first and manage expectations. You know, everywhere we are, we need to manage expectations. Managing expectations says to people just to confirm that this and this and this is required of me. And just to be firm. To be firm is not to be rude.
To be firm is to be very clear. I would say, I just want to confirm that task X, Y, and Z fall within my domain. However, Y, I think there could be a cross link with another individual or this other role. Do you still want me to do it? They'll say, yes, 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 do it. Our next conversation is going to be, so just to check, now that I'm doing task Y, would I be remunerated for doing task Y? Because you do work for a return. You're not just there to do everything. And the second thing is manage boundaries. Boundaries are important. I remember before I made partner, I was told by someone that we had a function and they said, you can't go home at 7:30. You will never make partner because this is when the conversations are starting. I had to go home, I had a young one at home. And I said, you know what? If it means I don't get that promotion because it was my responsibility to put them to bed in that season. Remember, seasons change, yeah? Yes, seasons change. Now they're in Form 2 now. But at that stage, I had promised them, I will read you a story and pray with you before you go to bed. It was my responsibility. So if it means it passes, then it's fine. But for now, what's important is I need to go home and read that story. Because I was going to get home at 9 and the young man was going to be waiting for me. So boundary says, what time am I supposed to be here? If I'm working beyond this time, am I being compensated for that? And in certain seasons, I have to respectfully decline. Unfortunately, I am unable to do this. So I'm not rude, but I'm actually very firm. I'll say unfortunately, and there's something called the sandwich approach. I'm not sure if you've heard it. It works in every situation. Every situation says, thank you so much for delegating this to me. Unfortunately, due to the constraints that I have at the moment, I may not be able to do it well to your satisfaction. However, I appreciate you and your leadership. Just sandwich them and go for it.
One person I see smiling from ear to ear is the church's admin assistant. I don't know why. Go ahead. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to ask, I did a degree in marketing, right? But I'm not employed. I've always wanted to do one mushroom. Mushroom, but he always the mushroom. He talked about pattern. So I did a bit of research, and the risky part is with sanitizing. When you don't sanitize well, everything just it doesn't grow, everything dies. So then I did another alternative was you can just buy sport beds that are already germinating that cost like $3.50 or $2.50 a bag, right? But I don't have any money right now. So I don't know how do I present a business idea to a person I call my father and takes me seriously so that he really invests in that. I don't want to do like very big, but I know if he's going to invest, it can actually go very big and it could be really low, like selling in supermarkets all over town. That's how do I approach him really with a sound business plan so that he really gets inspired to invest. So it's oyster mushroom, and I also want to do rabbits farming. So apparently from my very small research, Chinese like rabbits. So I want him to like invest in, but I don't know how to really convince him to help me because right now I've been applying since September when I graduated. I haven't got a job. So I'm thinking,
Thinking I cannot be babysitting. Yeah, I'm tired of babysitting. I want to do something so I get also partner in church and do a lot of things. But I don't know how to approach this man that can really help me. Thanks.
No. The challenge is really the father, isn't it? He's a scary person, and have you ever tried asking him for funding before? Okay. Okay. All right. I'll take you, I'll mentor you, I'll work with you, and then we can talk about how to go about it.
Thank you so much, sir.
There's a question.
Good afternoon. My question that I have is, I think in businesses, you can start a business, but you would want a business that goes from one generation to another generation.
You may take a seat. Welcome, Apostle. Pastor Mel, thank you for being here. We had already started. The ladies had presented their profiles.
For repairs of maintenance for the machines. So considering that we are small businesses and you're starting, how does then one plan ahead to ensure that you have working capital for your businesses or for breakdowns? Maybe, for example, there's a contract that comes in, you do not have enough resources in your bank account, you do not really qualify enough for more loans at the bank, but yet you've got a business opportunity. So how does then one work around it that you need to have working capital always, especially for new businesses? And then if you're to go into mine it's a capital intensive, you need money. How would you then ensure you always have a kitty bank for a rainy day?
It's a tough question, but I'll tackle it this way. A couple of years ago, when I spearheaded the women in gold mining, we thought that there was a survey that was done, and it was realized that there was very minimal participation from women. And all of us in that room, we thought that women were not participating simply because there was no working capital. Within a week, we were given 20 million US dollars. I'll tell you, after 2 years, we only dished out 6 million US dollars. So sometimes it's not about working capital or the lack of it. Sometimes it's bordered on knowledge. I'll give you an example. When it comes to mining, you have to know your costs. There's nothing like compressor ya muka yakafa. Well, it is going to die. So as a diligent miner, you need to always set aside money for your repairs and maintenance. So as we were teaching people who are getting into mining for the first time, we'd give you 10,000 US, 10,000 US, 8,000 towards the equipment, 2,000 set aside for your working capital. So for everything that you need to do, or for all the income that you will get, or the revenue that you'll get after selling your product, you always need to ensure that you set aside your finances. And also, The other thing is where you buy your equipment also matters. If you're going to be buying from the local Chinese and then you blow all of your money away, then you'll be in trouble. Because if you make a decision that you're going to buy that set piece of equipment from the Chinese, then you always need to keep your cash aside for that rainy day. And mind you, the repairs are always the same. For example, if it's a hammer mill, you know it's your beaters that need to be replaced. They need to be replaced after doing so many hours. It's stuff that you know. Even for an excavator, you know that the bits, they need to be replaced after so many hours. You know that for my excavator, it needs to be serviced after doing so many hours. So mining is just like any other business. You need to anticipate those costs and keep that cash aside.
Just add from an accounting perspective, I think a lot of it is us being diligent to keep and know our numbers. Like I said initially, when you're starting business, I found people think everything is profit. Whatever comes in, it's out. And how do we see that? It's in flash cars, it's in other things that are not business related. I think once you have grown to an extent, you need to set up structures that say this is the legal business. It's a persona. A business is a person on its own. And then this is me as well. Because if you don't have the discipline and you intermingle funds, sometimes that's when you don't have sufficient. Because the business should sustain itself. You want to get to a place where the business pays you as well, where you've registered your business such that you also earn, from the business. This is in growth of a business. You don't start there. But where you start is where you know that roughly every month I'm spending 500 on repairs and maintenance, which means you've got to have a kitty of more than 500. Some way. I'm not going to say where, but you've got to have it, right? But if you don't keep and monitor your numbers, everything seems unexpected, because this will die and then you need to replace the drill bits and buy something else. So my advice is, no matter how small a business, master your numbers. It's not math. This is not us doing those quadratic equations, etc. It's simple addition and subtraction, which I found we don't have the culture of. So my advice is, from where you are, any business, whether you're doing mushrooms, whether you're doing tomatoes, just sit down and say, how much am I actually using? If I need to pay someone, how much am I paying? And what can I realistically set aside? But have the discipline of saving. Once you have that discipline, you find that nothing is unexpected. And try and plan as you grow bigger and scale. That's what insurance is there for as well. It will cover some of these things. But we need to formalize our businesses, at least have a notebook, to start off with, that tracks everything for you. And I find that you will know your business better. You can identify leakages as well. As an auditor, we see so many leakages in business because no one is looking at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. If you made a profit of 20 last month and you made 5 this month, where has the money gone? What has gone wrong? And that assessment will help you track and know your numbers. Thank you.
I think what you're addressing is what has made most business people remain as mseamas, because every income that comes is profit. But like you said, treat your business as a person and save. I think you are equipping us to make our businesses established and grow and be multi-generational. Because as long as we treat them as profit, we spend it, each time it comes in, there's no growth. Pastor C, you're keeping time for us. So, yes, we can go ahead, ma'am. We still have more people with questions. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. I would like to ask one question to the auditor. My sister, we are investing these days. To invest magaba, tichisa mkando. The problem is that these guys we invest with, they disappear. So my question is, do we still have relevant investments around us that are maybe trustworthy and maybe where I can go freely and invest than trusting my aunties with the Chimbadzo people? And how do I know that this is a good investment before I do it?
Thank you so much for that. You know what? There is no age in operera mkando. The first thing is obviously, like you're saying, where you risk losing Marienu, and you're asking yourself, where is my money safe? The truth is, there are companies that have products mkando. Instead of giving Sazita charity, you can actually put it in a company, Moitaka cooperative Kenyo, and then they manage that mkando for you. Saka, you don't necessarily have to do it alone. If it always comes at a cost. So some people will say, we don't want to pay the administration fees that they take every month, but what is more important to you? But when you look at investments that are safe, usually high return, high risk. High return, high reward. So you need to know your appetite as well. If you cannot risk losing that money, don't put it where the return is too high. A lot of these microfinance type organizations, people will lose money because they work like pyramid schemes. How does a pyramid scheme work? I put in money today, and then I'm promised 40% return. And it's very attractive, 40%. And then someone else puts in money tomorrow. The money, when I go to withdraw, I am taking her money. And then I am taking her money. So my advice is, when you're investing, don't put all your eggs in a basket, one basket. Look for different areas where you can invest, but look for established businesses as well. You can see me after this because I can't market specific companies, but they are there that will manage mkando chaiwo, the same way they will manage funeral cooperatives or things like that. But be very careful, because the areas that are attractive to us, you should ask yourself, who is getting 40% return in this market? And from what? And anyway, if I ask that question, I don't want to know what you're doing, because maybe it's not legal. I don't want to be associated. So I think we also need to grow our investments slowly and diligently. There is no way $100 will grow as fast. And why I'm saying that is because we want to put our money where it grows too quickly, and then we risk losing it all. So please, if you don't trust, do your due diligence. Check their credentials. Who are they? Where are they putting my money? You are allowed to ask those questions. But you will know what mkando is always good. And my prayer is that we master it ourselves, because we can manage them ourselves. Pastor C will tell you we have an organization, a cooperative called Plan for 60, where we're planning for when we get to 60 for retirement. It is well managed. We have not lost a dollar. The people that are managing it are doing it as if it's their own business, but they are managing it for all of us. So look for like-minded people in this church, people that you can trust, because you first find them here. We need to stop building other people's businesses outside and start by building businesses within the church and together. And if you do that, if someone does something, you know you can run to the pastor and they will remediate. and they will help you. But all I'm saying is look around you because these are like-minded people. They will not steal from you. But you want to partner with people who you don't know, your money is at risk. Thank you.
Yes, Mary.
Thank you so much. Is it on? Okay, I've got a question for all of you as the business women. I know that for you to be able to go into these businesses, it is because you wanted to create wealth for yourselves and wealth for your families. So my question then is, how do you account for, how do you pay yourselves? How do you benefit from the businesses? I know that the businesses are, they are a person, a different person, persons from yourselves. So how do you account for the payments or the expenses that you spend on a personal note? What am I trying to say? As business people, you are not going to put your hands into the money at any time, anyhow. There must be some structures which are in place which will allow you to be able to benefit from the businesses themselves. So that is my question. Thank you.
I'm in church. Speaking on my own behalf, I am still on a journey when it comes to that personal management. Of course, my husband and I, we are on a salary, but accidents sometimes happen along the way. But however, when I carry out training sessions, I advise women and all other minors to pay themselves salaries, to set aside administration departments that pay everybody salaries, that manage the bank accounts. My husband and I, we manage our own bank accounts. So like I said, for me, it's also a journey. And the good thing is I've met Charity. I'm going to work with Charity in this 3-year journey where I'll be able to manage my finances.
You know, we always have things happening in family-run businesses because things happen, but systems need to be put in place. If you do not control your spending and dig into the business, you run the risk of running the business down. So systems are systems. I'm on a salary. I'm also paid a salary, the same way she said she's paid a salary. And we always have to stick to that. Unless there's a dividend to declare, we as shareholders, at the end of the year, we are benefiting. We don't take from a business. We've done another business before that actually went under because of that. You know, you've got a personal expense, you've got mainini varwara, you've got this. It is very difficult then for you to manage the business professionally. It is a person, it is independent from the family, you run it like that. That's what business says. I mean, but sometimes it's family, you know, things that happen, but we are trying.
So, in my case, I have no option but to ensure it's done because I ordered some of the biggest listed entities. Surely you can't expect them to do what you can't do. Is it possible? Absolutely. Our structure is different from the ladies in that we are a partnership. Right now, we are 9 partners. We account to each other. So no one can come and just get money. For what? What about me? It's about equity, right? If you get $20, I need to get my equivalent of 20, depending on my shareholding. So I think that helps in that you then have the structures. Fully fledged finance team, fully fledged internal audit within the firm, fully fledged that will actually come and ask you as well. We also approve requisitions. If I want something, someone else has to approve. And you have to go and explain, I have a client meeting, so can I have $100 for lunch? And bring back the receipts. Because that's what we expect When I go to a company, you can't tell me, yeah, I took 1,000, I took some executives to lunch, ask Pastor C, and I don't have the receipts. It's a big issue. So we are structured in such a way that it's our DNA and we have to do it. But my advice is, like I said, as you scale, it's very important. If you want a business that will go beyond yourselves, you need to have systems and you build them in gradually, but you make sure that each one is accountable for their task. The challenge is today, all is well with my Sazi charity because they are in agreement. What happens if you have a disagreement? How do you account for it? Who has done what? Whose role was it to do what? So as we scale up, let's formalize. Shareholders' agreements are not for big companies. They are for small companies. These things will protect you. We never want people to go their separate ways, but sometimes it happens, regrettably. And we see people fighting out in the courts. No, things should be documented so that we're able to protect not just ourselves, but even the generations to come. So please formalize your businesses. If you're giving someone money, I hope you're writing it down so that you've got something to present if they fail to repay you. Sometimes we think level. So as you scale, please make sure you separate the two. If each one comes dipping, there's no accountability and no growth. And if you call us the auditors, you will have a party, a real party.
Good afternoon. Thank you, ladies. I'm happy, though I'm missing men, but I know what you are sharing with us is very important, and I want to thank Apostle for that opportunity. I see that the social media is a huge influence in terms of the youth, their decisions, and whatever they want to venture in career-wise. And most of us here do really think that mining is easy, and mining is something that you just need to get involved and be part of a certain organization or certain whatever. So my question is going to come to all the three ladies to share with us the three most important values or skills that will help the young youth to actually choose a career path or choose what they want to be. You know, I'm just taking an example of myself, how we grew up. You know, we never had the time to sit down with our fathers and talk about our careers. All they wanted was good results, you know, and most of us here, our careers were decided by our parents. You know, someone was good at athletics, and you know, so these are things that we, you know, were exposed to. But when I see you ladies, I see that there is a girl empowerment, and I'm sure that most of the young women here are getting inspired with what you're sharing. So could you please share with us three things that are very important that will help the youth? Thank you.
Okay. Let's be patient. There's no instant everything. Things are worked for, and they take time. If you want something of value, give yourself time to work for. So, all those like invest online and you put $10 and you've got $1 million in a month and it's growing exponentially, please stop. Okay? So that's the first thing. You need to be patient. There's no instant gratification. If you want grow your things, you invest also. So nothing comes makagara. Like I said, God will work through you, nature wakabata moko mako. Why are you expecting God to send angels to fall from heaven to drop a car keys in your hands? Invest. Go to school, study, read. These parents that are telling you to go to school and study are not crazy. There is a benefit in doing that. One of my sons was passionate about football. I left my son in Spain at 14. He was picked up by a big club, went there, did everything. When all that happened, I told him, that is a business. You need to understand, even as a professional footballer, that you need to be managing your business. So I need you to do a business degree that will help you manage your business instead of having some manager that is managing your money, spending your money. At the end of it, we see a lot of them go bankrupt and nothing happens. So invest, go to school. So you invest in something. You all can do something. I know the blame is always, oh, I was forced to do this. My parents just pushed me. I didn't want to do it. Please, can you invest and do something? And once you start doing something, please go at it. Be honest. What's happening with the youth, honestly? It's like truth doesn't exist anymore, even in church. I want you to be trusted. I want to trust you, even with me at home. If I'm going to give you $100 and say, oh, go and buy whatever, even with, like she said, I know she's an auditor. Bring me my receipts. Oh, Mama ended up spending this and whatever. If it went over, I want to be able to trust you. If I can't trust you as your mother, why are you expecting somebody who's going to employ you to trust you? So be diligent, be trusted. And yeah, and we work from there. I'm sure my colleagues will add more to that. But let's start from there. Let's start from basics. The basic principles, we follow those, we'll be able to build structures that will be sustained and that will build you and give you a return that can actually take care of you in the future. Okay, thank you.
I think the first thing, before you even decide that you want to get into mining, you have to be somebody who wants to read. You have to read. You have to understand what you are getting yourself into. For instance, if you say, I want to mine platinum, book an appointment, go to Zimplats. I'm sure you can get an appointment there. You have a rough idea of what you're getting yourself into. I know I might say that mining is very easy. It is not easy. It is just like any other business. And as the years went by, we were also evolving in our business. Like I told you, that we are just not into mining. We do what is called consignment mining. It's because we looked at the challenges that we faced before, and this was the best solution for us. It might not be the ideal solution for you. So you have to be somebody who reads, you have to be somebody who takes a keen interest in what other people are doing. I've also realized that your wealth is in your passion. If you know your passion, your purpose is already tied up in there. You generate wealth from your purpose, which is closely linked to your passion. I'm passionate about mining. I've always been passionate about mining. And my purpose is to serve women, and I love it. Thank you.
I think my advice, first and foremost, is that you are living your own life, a life that God has determined for you. Many a times, as you are younger, you think you'll continue with your friends. There's a psychology that says, so what do we do? What do we study? What business do we get into? The earlier you learn to be an individual, the better it is for you. Because God has a specific plan for you. And the earlier you discover that, then the better. Spending time on social media will not give you your purpose. If anything, we are supporting other people's passions and other people's careers because people are earning and we are just scrolling. So learn to be an individual. Number 2, look for a mentor. If you know what you want to do and you need guidance. Others have walked this way before. Sometimes it's not necessary to make the same mistakes that others have. Sometimes you will bump into the wrong people. Look for someone who you can trust to mentor you and to hold your hand. What it does is you learn from them first, and then every mentor wants their mentee to be better than them. They will support you to make sure that you are also better. And half the time, counsel is not found just within your age group. Those old people that we think are old carry so much wisdom because they've been there and they've walked a certain road. So my advice to the young ones is don't do it alone. Look for someone to walk with you. The same way you are mentored in your spiritual journey, you need mentorship in business. You need mentorship in the marketplace. You need mentorship, otherwise these places will totally crush you. So once you identify as an individual and you know what you want to do, please partner with the right people. And if you pray about it, you will be directed accordingly. Because trust you me, when you are plugged in, that's where you flourish and you bloom. Because where you are planted, like she says, is where you've got to bloom. So if you're planted wrongly, you won't bloom and you'll be discouraged. But a mentor can tell you, accounting is not for you. They'll tell you honestly, I think maybe you're actually good at this. How about we explore something different? But the other thing is, please don't be discouraged. Things take time. Time and chance will happen to us all. So please be patient. They say trust the process, right? Trust the process. I started off as an attaché serving buns. Now other people are rushing to serve me because that's how the process works. Start small, scale up, and go big. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies. I saw Pastor, you had a question. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. My question maybe applies to all the three ladies, especially the two on the left. I want to ask about, because when you talk about farming, when you talk about mining, many times what comes into one's mind is, you know, the actual farming where you are interacting with the soil, with the livestock. But I think there is a lot within the value chains of farming, a lot of middle person roles that people can play. I just want to ask, within farming, within mining, what other business ideas come to mind where you are not necessarily hands-on on the farm, but you are probably catalyzing processes between producers and the markets. This is just an example. But within the mining and farming value chains, what business ideas or models can one build, especially those that can address the issue of startup capital that people were talking about? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. In mining, there's so many activities that you can get yourself involved in. Provision of PPE. For example, at our operation, we buy every 3 months. So you can actually get in there. There are things like canteen services. You can offer canteen services, meals, breakfast, lunch, and supper. That's another service that you can provide. You can also get into equipment supply, consumables even. So there are quite a lot of ways that you can get into mining, which is not exactly extraction in itself. Even processing, if you have got deep pockets. Thank you.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that are activities that are related to farming and mining. And I think she's just mentioned the bulk of it. But for processing, you know, in farming, we've got some products that are perishables. Things like the blueberries, things like your tomatoes. You can in mining, but it's really just getting those overripe tomatoes, those overripe blueberries. You can freeze them, you can dry them. You can actually have a snack as dried. You can do the same even with the vegetables. It's things like that, but supporting activities like what she mentioned, safety clothing that's needed in, you know, in the activities that happen in the bigger farming communities. It's things that you can do. I've seen a lot of middlemen within farming. I'm not very excited about those because I know those rip you off. And the farmer, usually the end user and the middleman always rip you off. So that I wouldn't really encourage because, yeah, for that simple reason. But some people do it. They also do that. Even logistics, transporting, right now people are harvesting. There's a lot of people that are providing transport for farmers harvesting wheat. Those are things that you can do, and a lot of people with equipment as well. I've seen, especially on the farming areas, that you always need a lot of equipment, and not every farmer has every piece of equipment. You've got ridgers, you've got plows, you've got disc harrows, you've got all those things. Some people actually just decide, I'm gonna buy the plow, I'm gonna get a disc harrow, I'm gonna get a tractor. When people are going into farming, when it's really peak, you can hire those out. Those are some of the activities you can do without necessarily being the farmer. You can even maintain that equipment. I've seen people that do that. And some that's just do the hiring out. It's a lot of things that are related. Maybe they may not come, all of them, like at this point, but I think when we talk more, you then realize there's so much more that can actually be done. Even security. Security is a big thing on the farms as well. Those are some of the things that you can do. You can even have a security company that can actually offer security services. At the moment on my farm, I'm looking even for dogs, security dogs. Sometimes it's easier to have dogs that are better in scaring away things like monkeys, and instead of actually employing a person, if you've got your own dogs, they just chase them away for you and things. It's something that somebody never thinks about. I actually know somebody who actually breeds, you know, and has been doing, and he trains them and all that. It's something that someone never actually thinks about. They're thinking farming. So anything related, sometimes when there's pressure, when you sit and give yourself time, those things will come to mind, and you'll realize there is so much more that I can do.
And also, just to add on, you can actually be a broker. You can come, Charity, you are mining this. I would like to buy this product from you. Yeah. You get yourself your market out there, because we mine, we stockpile at the mine. You come and buy the product, you sell it wherever you're going.
And I just wanted to say, I think there's power in just knowing and in knowledge. Business is about meeting a need. If you sit down with Charity, the amount of things she doesn't want to lock up in working capital, you can bridge that gap. I saw a drone here. It's amazing how we use drones now in audits. We use them to quantify stockpiles. So whoever's got a drone, we could actually hire you, and then you can do that. People are using drones in security, you know? So it's about meeting a need. And half the time now, it's better to contract than to have it as a business person. So anything I can contract, trust you me, I will contract, rather than have a fixed cost on my income statement. Thank you.
Have we exhausted our questions? Is time up? Thank you all so much. Thank you, ladies. It has been wonderful having you here. Thank you, Charity, the auditor. I think what we have learned here is what Apostle was teaching us a few weeks ago, that wealth is everywhere. It's in natural resources, it's in our skills, it's in relationships, strategic relationships, it's everywhere. It's just for us to realize, even where God has planted us, what can I capitalize in order for me to make it in this life? Thank you, Charity, the minor. Thank you, Mrs. Rosie. Thank you, Charity, the auditor. It was wonderful having you. You may kindly take your seats. I'll leave this time to Pastor C.
So I guess you all agree with me that this was an amazing session. Mind-blowing it was, and I hope you're all inspired to do something. We're not taught about the 7 streams of income for us to just know them, but it's for us to actually tap into them and get that wealth. I love that My Roads reminded us that we have a 2 million budget in the next 5 years. And the 2 million is coming from you and is coming from me. But we all have to be equipped. We've been equipped with the knowledge, but we also need to now start get into doing something so that we make the money. So we've come to the end of our business session this afternoon. We'll take a break and we will be back at 5